and American interests in the Middle East, and that has to be dealt with on an urgent basis.
Now, the Nigerian government says it's close to signing a $2 million renewable energy deal with the United Nations Environment Programme, aiming to boost its climate action efforts. Delegates shared this update at the United Nations Climate Action Summit in Azerbaijan. Esther Moparela has details.
Developing countries must not leave Baku empty-handed. A deal is a must.
In keeping with this mandate, some African countries have begun negotiations on climate finance to meet its adaptation needs, protecting its people from the ravages of the climate crisis. Here at the summit, Nigerian delegates say they are committed to securing agreements that will help boost climate adaptation, speed up net zero energy systems, and implement national climate action plans to safeguard the country's future.
We came with the intention to stop all the pledging, but to see commitment from the development partners. And interestingly, I'll be happy to announce here that they are showing a commitment already in the finances. They're not only pledging, they're about to sign the $2 million, renewable energy, deal with UNEP, United Nations Environment Program. So that's something.
In every negotiation space that we're saying that there's a need to understand that Africa has special needs, and those needs need to be recognized when you talk about technology, when you talk about climate finance, and also there's a need to restructure the finance architecture to ensure that we are not burdened with more debts, but also to consider alternatives like a debt swap for climate as well.
The conversation also centers on Article 6, which allows countries to trade carbon offsets. Nigerian officials are urging developed countries to step up climate finance support, asking for more than $1 trillion to meet Africa's climate goals.
When we get this finance, it's going to be reported through the enhanced transparency framework to show clear, and that's one of the acts we're asking. We're saying to the developed countries, tell us how much you gave, tell us who you gave it to, so we know that, okay, you say you gave us 30 billion, for what, and to who, and where. And that is part of the things we're talking about when you talk about enhanced transparency framework.
We are expecting to have the African groups a position on the submissions that we are anticipating to submit, and then we are also looking at how it is going to, of course, be useful to Nigeria.
The target in all of these conversations is to keep the 1.5 degrees global temperatures within reach and ensure an equitable and sustainable future for everyone. Esther Moparela, TVC News, Azerbaijan.
In the meantime, a coalition of civil society groups have voiced strong concerns over carbon trading, arguing that it doesn't solve the climate crisis, but instead worsens it. During a press conference at the ongoing climate summit in Azerbaijan, they called for an immediate halt to a new fossil fuel product and urged a fair and equitable transition to renewable energy to ensure a livable future for everyone.
Carbon trading, carbon credits is not solving the climate problem. It's only giving the license to polluters to do more, to pollute more. And of course, it's also creating carbon colonialism and carbon slavery in poor countries, where communities are now going to be forced to watch over carbon in trees or in the river or in the soil, instead of being helped to adapt to the crisis they did not create.
As Nemo said, as a carbon fair trade is a conference of polluters, and that we are here is denouncing what is happening again here in these COPs, that is continuously the expansion of oil activities, the expansion of mining activities, the expansion of the harmful energies that are causing the climate change.
Continue their work. So I think at COP29, especially if we're discussing climate finance, especially if we want to meet our targets, we need to set ambitious goals. We need legal frameworks that address common but differentiated responsibilities in order to phase out of fossil fuels and transition to sustainable economies and sustainable frameworks.
You're watching The World Now. We'll take a break, and when we're back, we'll talk more on COP29 by speaking with an environmentalist, Nino Bassi. Just stay with us. We'll be right back.